Car boot sales are a waste of time. Ever since reselling on YouTube has become a thing, people always tell me that it's now ruined and you can't get anything, especially when it comes to video game collecting. The very early stages of me doing these type of videos, I got a lot of hate for even showcasing what I was picking up. And reason being, of course, is that already established collectors used to go to car boot sales, charity shops, and even Facebook Marketplace and pick up things for their collection very, very cheap. But when videos like this pop up, it showcases how easy it is to go around and pick up bargains. And that in turn, of course, promotes more competition, meaning that the seasoned professionals who have been doing this for decades now find it just that little bit harder to find things at places like car boot sales and charity shops. So when I get comments like, "You've killed collecting," or "You're ruining collecting, you call yourself a collector," people start attacking me for making these videos. Now, this isn't a video for me answering the haters, because quite frankly, I couldn't care less. But for those people who are concerned that car boot sales no longer hold the fruits of collecting, I'm here to tell you that you couldn't be more wrong. Introducing the FlexiSpot standing desk. Thank you to FlexiSpot for reaching out and sponsoring today's video. This is the perfect solution for anyone who wants to work smarter and feel better. With a sleek and adjustable design, you can easily switch between sitting and standing. Pre-programmable modes make it easy to switch between standing and sitting. With more than enough space for 2 monitors and even a laptop, you could literally be playing 3 games at the same time, while standing of course, and keeping that circulation moving. I never thought I'd use the standing desk, to be fair, but since having one, I find myself using it at least 2 or 3 times a day in the standing position. If you're interested in the FlexiSpot standing desk, you can click the link in the description. And once again, thank you to FlexiSpot for sponsoring today's video. I often find things in car boot sales that are worthy of going straight into the collection, or that I can trade in or even sell to buy things for my collection that I actually want to keep. And I've mentioned it before, but of course if you are new, I don't go to car boot sales at the crack of dawn and I don't rummage through people's boots. It's called a car boot sale, but I've very rarely, if ever, dived into someone's boot. I can't stand the people who do that. It's really annoying, and if I was selling, I would be really, really frustrated. Instead, I take my time, and I've already decided I'm not going to find anything. The beauty of a car boot sale is it doesn't matter what time of day you go, there is a chance you'll find something for many different reasons. So the people who dive into car boots and who go up to people who have just parked and say, "Have you got this? Have you got that?" Of course, they're more likely to find something because they're essentially going to cherry pick. They're going to get the first dibs on that seller's items. Now, this isn't always the case, of course, because I used to do car boot sales back in the day, and I'm literally talking about 15 years ago. And when me and my mum used to go and do them together, if someone would come up to the car and ask, "Have you got this? Have you got that?" regardless of whether we did or not, she'd always say no, because she couldn't be bothered to handle and deal with these people. So she'd say no, they would move on straight away because they haven't got time to check to see if they're lying, of course, and then they just move on to the next car, and then people would just brush past us and they would barely stop. And then we'd have a chance to set up, and 9 times out of 10, we did have items that they were asking for. Now, diving in boots, like I said, is one way of doing it, and you are more likely to get the good stuff that way, but the way that I do it is a little bit different. Like I said, I go to car boot sales already resigned to the fact that I'm not going to pick anything up, and if I do, it's a bonus. I don't just go for collecting purposes, I do go for reselling purposes, and not just video games as well, so I am looking for a lot of different items. But when it comes to video games specifically, like I said, I've just told myself you're not going to find anything, and then if I do, it's a little bit of gravy on top of the reselling gold that I'm likely to find. So how am I going to find anything if you've got 30, 40, 50 people in front of me going around asking have you got this, and they're running round? You see resellers and collectors at boot sales who will literally just fly through the stalls, and they've gone round twice before you've even finished the first row. I see these people all the time. They're the same people, and I am a little bit envious that they're able to do that, but I go around with my wife and we do take our time doing it. But the way that I manage to find things is either things that people have overlooked, so you need to really look at stalls. Sometimes there'll be games mixed in with DVDs, sometimes there'll be games underneath other things and consoles and such, and controllers and whatever it may be, so you need to really look at stalls. Sometimes you'll look at them and go, nope, nothing there, I'll move on, and then I'll come behind you and yep, I've seen a game underneath a t-shirt, or a game mixed in with some DVDs, as I did recently. The other thing, of course, is some people are just very, very slow at setting up. Recently, I went to a car boot. I went round twice, and on my third go around, I'd been to this very same stall once before, and they didn't have anything that I wanted. On the third go around, I'd been there for well over an hour at this point, they had something that they didn't have before, and they just hadn't put it out yet because they hadn't got round to it. And that's how I managed to find things, because the people who were diving in Boots and just flying around and asking people, have you got this, have you got that, they're probably done in a car boot sale within 20 minutes. They've got what they want and they leave, because they'll either go to another car boot, they'll go to charity shops, or they're just done for the day. And then you get people like me who, fair enough, I won't probably find gold that often. Every now and again I will find something that is pretty impressive, but 9 times out of 10 I'm getting run-of-the-mill stuff. However, with that being said, run-of-the-mill stuff for me is absolutely fine. And if it means I can take my time and still make some profit or put some things into the collection, then I'm going to do that. The amount of things I found in this collection, which you can check out in the playlist down below, from car boot sales and just walking around and just being really slow, to me anyway, is actually quite impressive. I find sealed Switch games, I find consoles for £10 or less in some cases. I have found things like Xboxes, and it's not regular, but to be fair, every now and again I do find the odd Mega Drive game. But the other thing about car boot sales is you can go there as a video game collector and pick up things to sell that aren't anything to do with video games, and then when that sells, you get your money, you can go into a retro game shop or online or whatever it may be and use that profit to buy video games. In my series that I run, I tend to try and stick to video games as much as I can, so I'll buy video games and consoles and sell them on, whatever we have left profit wise we'll go and use that to buy video games. But you don't need to follow that specifically, of course. If you're not recording for a series, you're not tied to these sort of rules, if you will. You can go and buy pottery and flip the pottery on eBay and then use the profit to buy video games. You can go and buy trainers and flip them and then use that profit to buy video games. There are no rules to this thing when you're not recording for a YouTube series. So just because you're not finding video games at car boot sales, maybe it's time to broaden your horizons a little bit. Maybe you don't know much about anything else, but it's never too late to learn about a different niche. When I first started reselling, I didn't know much about anything, if I'm honest. I knew football boots were probably a little bit valuable here or there, but apart from that, video games, football boots, and maybe football shirts. That's it. I didn't realise there was such a big demand for second-hand trainers. I didn't realise football boots actually sold as quickly as they do, and Astro in particular actually sell for more than boots do. Football shirts are of course a massive business, and even DVDs and Blu-rays sell for a little bit here or there, and of course there are ones that are going to sell for a lot more than others. That will be something you need to research just that little bit more, but it's not exactly a hard thing to do. More time consuming than anything else. And then of course there's the whole world of fashion. Jeans, for example. There is some massive money in jeans. And every other stall is selling a pair of jeans, so there's something for everyone at a car boot sale. They are not dead by a long stretch. Yes, there are more people at them now than there were 10 years ago. Yes, there is more competition as a result, but you just need to adapt to the times. Go in there specifically looking for video games and then coming home empty-handed is one way to do it. But if you go there thinking, well, yes, I'm looking for video games, but if I see jeans, if I see football boots, if I see trainers, if I see a Uganda training top from 1996, I'm going to pick that up. Essentially what you need to build a video game collection is cash. It's much like everything else in this world. So if you can make money by flipping the odd thing that you pick up in a car boot, you can go and use that cash to buy the video games. So car boot sales are not dead. You just need to move with the times, broaden your horizons. Let me know in the comment section, do you go to car boot sales specifically looking for video games, or do you do what I've just said and maybe look for some other things that you can flip in order to use the cash to buy the video games? If you want to check out a video from my series where I practice what I preach, you can click here. And until the next time, goodbye.